and what Rotary Foundation is doing in Haiti, particularly around literacy. We already met Sarah, and so I'm going to be introducing Sarah, who is the District Haiti Literacy Chair. What we also do around literacy is through the Greenville Literacy Association, and there's a group of Rotary clubs here in Greenville that band together, and we do a lot of work throughout the year locally as well. So it's good to see what we're able to do locally as well as what we can be doing internationally, and that's part of the value of being in the Rotary organization. So Sarah, I'm going to ask you to come up and you can introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you. I met Marie Flore Chips the first week that I was in Haiti, the first week that I was in Conj in 2009 when Ghislaine and Charles Warren invited us to come to see the work that they were doing with agriculture in the Central Plateau. And Marie Flore and some villagers and I sat under the stars, which you can see more clearly than anywhere on earth probably. Anyway, very beautiful. And we talked about education, and we talked about what she felt was the most important factor in need in Haiti at that time. And as I said, that was 2009. And at the end of several of these conversations, I went to see her father, who was the priest in Conj, and her mother was also with him, both great humanitarians and folks who had devoted their lives to helping others. And I asked Father LaFontaine if indeed I could work with Rotary to build the first library in the Central Plateau in the rural part of the Central Plateau. And he said yes. And so 8 years later, we are still working there, and we're working with libraries involved with Summit's education, which Marie will tell you about in a moment. Marie Flore Chips is the founder and interim executive director of Summit's Education. It is an NGO operating a network of 40 primary schools, serving 10,000 students and 350 educators in Haiti's Central Plateau. Summit's education has as its philosophy the belief that access to a quality education is a human right. And in partnership with local communities and governmental entities, they are building education systems in rural Haiti, addressing the needs of the whole child. Marie Flore was exposed to fighting for social justice through her parents, Reverend Fritz and Rolanda LaFontaine, as well as Dr. Paul Farmer, who dedicated their lives to fighting for the poorest of the poor, especially in the Central Plateau. And just an advertisement, there is a film tonight at St. Peter's Church at Devonshire and Hudson Road about Paul Farmer and the growth of Partners in Health. He has gone from the first hospital in Conj to an international network of hospitals and medicine work for poor people. And his organization does not charge at all for their services. He's an amazing man. It starts at 6:30 with a little dessert. And then I think around 7:30 they'll show this film called Bending the Arc. You can read about it online. It's got a lot of good following. Back to Marie Flore. Marie Flore earned a degree in management and started her profession as a public health advocate by directing a family planning project in Conch. Zamni Lasante was the group that enabled women to make informed choices about their sexual and reproductive health. Zamni Lasante in Creole means friends of health. Marie Flore has spent her entire career working in diverse sectors such as providing water, sanitation, education to communities lacking access. She has provided information and training of all kinds. She has supported vulnerable groups such as orphans and elderly people, senior citizens. She joined the agricultural movement, Zamni Agricole, which is Charles Warren's project, which the main goal is fighting and preventing malnutrition by offering seeds, trees, and education. To assure the continuity of education program under Zamni Lasante, she founded Summits Education with Paul English, to assure that children served in the 40 schools receive quality education and are consequently destined to succeed in school and in life. She plays a significant role in advocating for the underprivileged that resulted in improved health and social status of many. She's known for her philanthropic work and her positive attitude toward every obstacle. She is an optimist. You need to be an optimist in Haiti. And she is one. Marie Flore. So let's see. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here this afternoon. Thank you Sarah and Rita to have me here. And thank you to some of the friends that have been with me since I have been here. And I have seen Dr. Brooker and Rod in different meetings. I have been in other Rotary Club. I have been working in a proposal grant with the Rotary International. Thank you, Rotarians, for all the support you are doing to the different projects to help the ones that are really in need in Haiti. As Sarah introduced me, I have been working with Zamni Lasante Partners in Health since 1989 through International Family Assistance Program in Haiti. I was helping the young girls and the women in the villages that are in the most remote area in Haiti. When I said remote, it's about 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, and sometimes 10 hours hike in a path to get to those villages. And when you get to those villages, some of them, I remember the first time I went to a village called Gros Moulin, some of the kids that were there in the villages were running away from Haitians like me who come and see them because they have been abandoned and the government don't know if they even existed. And Father Lafontaine, back in the 80s, funded about 19 schools. And in 2007, there was a big mobilization in Haiti with a literacy program. It's a 4 years accelerated program that helped the children that didn't have access to education. And I said, since I was exposed to those villages that didn't have access education for the children, I said I'm going to do an action there in those villages. So I contacted the Ministry of Education, and this is when we had 25 centers with the monitors trained to have those schools in those villages. Some of the students were 12 years old, even 14 years old, to started to go to school. And years later, we have seen that the families send their children to school at an early age. And at that time, we had a network of 40 schools with a large budget. Paul Former and Father Fritz Lafontaine were working with different partners and different donors to find a fund for the teachers' salaries and the operation of the school as well. In 2012, after the earthquake, it was hard to find money for education when the need was for most likely health. Unfortunately, one day we were notified that the education program will no longer be funded by Partners in Health. So what do we do with 350 teachers and 10,000 students? At that time, we said we must do another action. And I went to the Minister of Education and explained the situation in the Central Plateau, where that department is the one with the highest rate of illiterate. So we got the school nationalized in 2013, and from there we were waiting with an MOU signed with the government, and we were waiting for the salaries to come out. 2 years later, no salaries were out for the teachers, but the school was still running with the solidarity of the teachers. And 2 years later, in 2015, we were always praying and hoping there could be something, how to do it, to continue with the programs. And a gentleman walked in the campus where I was located at Cange, and I greeted him, and he presented himself, and he told me that he was there for an education program. For me, it was like a miracle, and he was talking to the right person. I said, very interesting. Let's go and talk about it. And I said, what do you have in mind? And he said, I'm here, I have this plan, I want to come and build an academy here with the rich children, and the parents of the rich children could pay for the poor one. And it's going to be an outstanding academy. And I explained to him, unfortunately, this will not apply for Haiti. And I explained to him my situation as well with the 40 schools that none of the teachers have been paid for 2 years, and we are in a difficult situation. Why is he join the network and help us strengthen the network, and then years later we'll think about the academy? And God made another miracle. After 2 months, he came back and he said he agreed that he will join the team. And this is when Summit was funded. Paul English and I, we were the founder of Summit. And since then, he has been putting a big sum of money, because having 40 teachers on salaries it's a big budget. Another miracle happened in 2017, when one day we were notified that the salaries came out from the Ministry of Education. Because Paul English was saying, I can help maybe for 2 years or 3 years, but I'm not going to be there paying every year the salaries of the teachers if we're talking about sustainability. And this is what happened when we had the salaries from the government, and this is when it was a big hoof. And we said, this is how we're going to talk about quality of education in the network.
Technical difficulties.
Talking about quality in education, we had decided to have a strategic plan. How we gonna go now? Because we were having the school, the teachers were not paid, and we knew that the children were coming in school just to come in school, and they were learning, but not the way we wanted to do it. We said that Summit is committed to actively raising the quality of life of the children we serve, especially the one in the Central Plateau, where we have the highest rate in literacy. We work in partnership with local communities, government entities, and different partners to ensure that school meet the needs of the whole child, promoting a school environment where each student is healthy, safe, engaged, challenged, and supported. As you can see in Haiti, in the Central Plateau, 80% of the population lacks of water. For the intervention in order to talk about the quality of education, in the villages where we have the school, it's only the school that has an infrastructure where we are in the villages. The home that the family live, I think Sarah has some of the pictures that you can have a peek how they are living in those villages. We did an action with Charity Water where we had intervention in about 12 communities with water, with clean water in the communities. And we are still working to improve the water situation in the communities. The families in the Central Plateau live less than $2 per day. And we have about 650,000 inhabitants living in the Central Plateau. 85% of schools in Haiti are private. We can say we don't have any public system, any public school in the Central Plateau. Most of them, the teachers don't show up because 2 or 3 years going without salaries, it's a big problem in the public system in Haiti. We said 78% of students drop out after primary school. What do they do after 6th grade? There's nothing else that they can do in the villages. They can't afford to go to the big cities to continue from 7th grade to 12th grade. Most of the time, the girls get pregnant and the boys stay in the community and do some farming. 50% of Haitians can read, as we talk about it, in the Central Plateau with the highest literacy rate. And 80% of teachers lack basic qualification. So what did we do in an intervention? We had 2 consultants working with us, and one in the strategic plan, we came to do an evaluation of the school. In the result of the evaluation, we find out that in 2nd grade, 70% of the students didn't know how to read. In 4th grade, we had about 50%, and even in 5th grade, about 30% of the students didn't know how to read. So what we did, it's the remediation, and some of the teachers are helping those students that don't know how to read. And we're going to have it. We're going to have an evaluation in June to see how that program is progressing. And as you can see, the card there, this is where we are in that round part of the card, in the Central Plateau. Our work in partnership with local community, as I say, with the different donors that permit us to have the different intervention in the quality of the education that we are talking about right now. Another intervention that is so good, it's a miracle that happened again. We just have a contract with Mary Mills organization that signed to give a hot meal per student in all of our schools that we have. So now the students are more receptive. They come very early in school in order to have the hot meal a day. We didn't have that before. It's a big thing that happened toward the goal to have the quality of education. Kellogg Foundation did an assessment for us and was looking of the most obstacle things in the network. And one of the things that we thought that was going to come up was about the salaries of the teachers, but it was canteen. Because the students eat, the teachers eat, and even the families in the village who come and help with the kitchen, they have a hot meal per day. Students are actively engaged in their own learning and feel connected to their teachers, school leaders, and peers. We have the training for the teachers right now. One of the things that we did was the evaluation of the teachers and then give them support and training in order to deliver to the children better. So it's a new approach now, how to teach the children, how they use the environment, whatever they have in their environment to learn. As you can see, those children, they are very happy and learning. This is the program that we are looking for, that we have been working, and Summit Hub and Spoke Library in partnership with PILH. Create an educational library for teachers and students, which is so important. Set up a model library with early childhood spaces, youth, adolescent, adults. Develop a collection of books to feed the class library and help teachers set up active pedagogy. Right now, this is what we are working with. With what we had find out with the students who don't know how to read, we see how important it is with the program that Rita and Sarah is having and working together, and see how we can work in the literacy program. Those children deserve to know how to read, and that's the only thing we can give them, because they will reach only to the 6th grade, and from there our goal is to have now another class of Haitian, to leave the dependency all the time you're waiting on the giving and giving. By teaching those children, by them learning, I think we will have a new class of Haitian. This is a new goal, and by doing with the literacy program that we are talking about, I think that's the only way we can go in helping those children. And I know that Sarah will be talking the collaboration that we have been having, and
this is going to be very brief, so all I have to do is get to the right slide presentation.
I'm going to get that. It might be easier.
All right.
It's the presentation Rotary.
So I have told you that I met Marie Flore from the very beginning of our work in Conch, and one thing that we decided we would do is we would not give workbooks to classes, because those were an endless task. That was an endless cost. But we came to the conclusion that if we built libraries, that those libraries would be there. We could rotate the books, children could check them out or read them in the library. And that's what we did at first. We built a library, as I said, the only library in the Central Plateau that's in a rural area. And we just developed a prototype, and we had 3,200 books in the library, all of which were classified by the Dewey Decimal System. We had 8 computers that were given to us by Clemson University, refurbished computers. We had a full-time librarian who knew something about programming. I trained him on some of my trips. And now we are moving toward a partnership with Summits where we can reach out to more schools and have more opportunities to serve. But as Rotarians in this district, you should be very proud of the work that we have done in Conj. I don't have time today to show you our 3 educators talking about it, but it's a great thing that we accomplished. So now we are still bringing libraries to Haitian villages and schools and advocates for villages and schools, and we're advocating for networking to strengthen the nation's schools. Because I've talked to the one of the most prominent librarians in Port-au-Prince, and I asked her, how many schools do you have libraries? How many communities have libraries? And she didn't know. So there's not a lot of connectivity, and people aren't working together on this. And I mean, think we have the American Library Association here in America. We have the South Carolina Library Association that serves you in this state. There's nothing like that there. Even some once a year would be good to start with for meetings. Okay, here you see Rita and me looking a little less elegant than we do today. Boxing up 135 books that were contributed by various Rotary clubs, the upstate diocese, other schools, other churches of various kinds. And we sent them to Haiti, and they're in a container and waiting to be unpacked. And they're picture books. There are some examples you might recognize. Clifford the Big Red Dog. It's a book that doesn't have very many words. You can picture tell the story and start developing language with it. Snowy Day's another example. Goodnight Gorilla is practically a wordless book. All these are very easy books to use with your children, and we've sent sets of those that we're going to have in a resource library. So these are our goals for the year. We hope to have a new primary library. We hope to furnish and equip a teacher training center and a resource center. We want to facilitate reading celebrations and library trainings. We're going to see if we can't do something about networking libraries, and we want to add books in Creole, which is the mother tongue of Haiti. French is taught later, but you grow up, you come home, you're born and you start speaking Creole. So that is the native language, and I'm a reading specialist, so it is always best to teach someone how to read in their native language. There you go. Okay, so I mentioned the primary school. Here it is. This is Domond. This is outside the building. And early in the morning, you see the mountains in the background. You see if you're very close to the screen, you see the cattle grazing outside the school. We're talking rural here. This is the room that we're going to turn into a library for this school. And we hope it will serve other communities as well, because I cannot foresee us building 40 libraries with 40 schools. But if we have a hub that we can draw in several communities to, that's what we're hoping to do here. So Demond, this is the outside door of this room right here. There's more mountains in the background. But we know that Haitians like to walk. They will walk. They will walk for 3 hours to get to a library. We had people coming from 30 miles away in Conj to the library. So we know that people will come, and it can be a hub. We have to fill all that up with furniture and books, and we need your help. We really, really can use your help in doing that. Here is the teacher training room that we have identified will be our place where our teachers will come in shifts. Obviously, 350 people can't fit in this particular room. It also goes around the wall here. But this was back in November when Rita and I were there, and you can see that there's a little there, and it goes into this room, which is going to be the resource library room. So those rooms, Marie Flore has already done some renovations. The windows aren't knocked out anymore, and they're real windows, and there's some preliminary furniture, but these are the spaces, and we're very, very excited about it. If we train the teachers, everything will follow from that. If we can get the teachers trained in knowing how to teach reading to their children, and how to share a book with their children, and how to teach writing, it can happen. So we're talking also about some incentives. You know, if you have children and they've gone through a summer reading program, they came home with pencils and rulers and erasers and this and that. So we are going to choose some days that all 40 schools might celebrate together. For example, this is Flag Day. This represents Flag Day. That's a Haitian flag. Very, very exciting day in Haiti, Flag Day. So we'll have some incentives that go with Flag Day, not with American Happy Reading, but that's just to show you what an incentive is in case you were not familiar with that term. Here we have, you know, why we need these hub libraries. The villages are spread out on the mountainside. Some of them are at the tops of the mountains, not just in the valleys. And we need to draw folks into this. We hope to have eventually one this year. Progress, slow, but one this year, one hub this year. Mother tongue books, there she is. She's holding Creole. She's holding a Creole book. That's what we want to get into the hands of these children. And here we are, Rotary Club. I call this a district collaborative project because we do have some churches that are helping us. We have some individuals that are helping us. They're not Rotarians, but I'm not going to say, no, you're not a Rotarian, you can't give me money. That would not be a good idea. So that's how we present it.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
If you have any question, you can.
Please ask us any questions.
Any questions? If not,
just Marie, Flores, would you remind the audience why the teacher training is important? What level are many of your teachers educated? To what level are they educated?
Well, some of them to, I would say, to 11th grade, 12th grade, and some of them now, you know, went to École Normale Supérieure now. So in the next 5 years, we encourage them to continue to go to school.
So many are only educated to grades below grade 11 or 12, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, at the beginning, and when we signed the MOU with the Ministry of Education, he had asked for that evaluation. And this is when he said at least 9th grade. But we had some of the teachers that were lower than that, yeah.
And I have worked with the teachers. I've done training with the preschool teachers. I can't tell you how eager they are to
for
learn.
learning.
They absolutely are. We had 21 teachers. They came from as far as 10 miles away. Mm-hmm. We had 6 days of training. Every teacher was there on time for the training.
Yes.
Every day. Now, if I were walking 10 miles, I might not make it. I can get there, but they really are so eager to learn, and they're just delightful to work with, and they ask questions. They're very, very, this is an opportunity they've never had.
Yeah.
They're the teachers because they grew up in that village. They were the best reader, or they could write some, and they became the teacher.
And 98% of our teachers are male. Only 2% are female. Why? Because the girls don't have the chance to continue. And we want to change that.
Anything else? Yes.
What is the average salary for a teacher?
It's about 100. Yeah, 13,000 would give you what? 200. 200.
It's
Per
about
month.
3,000 a year.
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
I'm going to invite everybody. you'll be here for a few more minutes along with Sarah and Rita, and you can have more one-on-one conversations. But I wanted to make sure we had time to thank you for the presentation, and
Thank you.
in honor of that, we have a little flag for you that you can take back.
Oh, thank
And
you.
they hang it in the library.
Yes,
Perhaps.
we will do
We
that.
are working on a global grant for the Teacher Training Center. And we had meetings yesterday with Ed Irick and a group of people from the Pleasantburg Club, which is my club. And we have a Haitian Rotary Club that we'd be happy to give this to.
Right.
Yes.
The
I will
Pessionville, the
do that.
Pessionville Rotary Club is
There we go.
probably going to be our partner in the global grant. So,
Yes.
Great, perfect.
And
not that
thank
she
you.
wouldn't want it on her wall. But.
Yeah, we'll have other. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sarah. And appreciate everybody coming today. We're going to close the meeting. I'm going to ask our expert on Rotary matters and treasurer, Alan Austin, to lead us to the four-way test to close the meeting.
Please stand. Of the things we think, say, and do.
Is the truth, is it fair to all concerned, will build goodwill and better friendships, will be beneficial to all concerned. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks again.
No, I've got a short meeting with Ann and Sean and Michelle, so.
And I was planning to see you at a district conference, and then you didn't show up. Or maybe our paths didn't cross.
Make it happen.
It was good for me.
Oh, it should be good.
That's right, and we got you, but we got you in the mix.
A picture, Sarah.
I'm gonna get the bucket. I don't have any of my official name things, Carol. You don't either.
No, you get them
You guys behind here? Come over here.
It's not time.
Who are you taking?
But
Everybody?
Get everybody here.
Come here.
Come this